Ashley, would you turn that off and stop screaming at the top of your lungs? Your dad just got back from work and he's taking a nap.
Sorry, Mom, I said as I turned down the radio.
One of these days I'm gonna break that radio into pieces.
I heard Dad say as his heavy footsteps went past my bedroom. Dad hated it when I sang. I didn't understand why when everyone else said I had a beautiful voice. Some even called it angelic. I won countless singing competitions at school, but whenever I came home with a trophy, he threw it in the trash, saying I was wasting my time. My family was not rich. Dad was a construction worker while Mom stayed at home taking care of everyone.
You need to focus on your grades. Forget about all this singing.
He'd always say. Dad might as well have told me to stop breathing. Singing was my life, and my dream was to become a famous music star. Do you want your dream to come true? Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Then hit that notification bell and see what happens.
Hey, what are you always writing in there?
Surely, a girl in my class stood over my desk. It's none of your business, I said and quickly closed my notebook.
But I want to see,
she said as she took the notebook from me. Stop it! I tried to snatch it back, but it was too late. She was already reading it out loud to the whole class.
I was born with golden lips,
she read in a high-pitched voice.
Oh my God, is this a love poem? Ah, our sweet Ashley is in love.
The whole class laughed.
Actually, it's a song. I heard her sing it. It's really nice.
My best friend Lucas said, and my face instantly turned into a tomato. I had a huge crush on him, and I'd die if he found out. I had no idea you were listening, I said shyly.
I was, and it was so cool. Come on, sing it for the whole class.
He dared me. What? No way.
I bet she's not even that good.
Shirley rolled her eyes. Actually, I am, I said confidently. I stood up and took a deep breath. The whole class now quiet, all their attention focused on me. When I started to sing, the class went silent. I was so lost in the moment, I didn't notice that Lucas was recording the whole thing. When I was done singing, the whole class erupted in cheers.
That was amazing. Don't forget me when you become famous.
If only my dad felt the same. I sat back in my seat feeling sad and defeated.
Ashley, you won't believe who commented on your video.
Lucas ran into class excited. He was referring to the video of me singing in class a few days earlier. He uploaded it to his Instagram page and the video went viral. Who is it?
It's Maria Lopez. Isn't she your idol?
What? Let me see. Maria was a famous pop star. She had millions of fans over the world, me included. I couldn't believe my eyes when I read her comment. She's asking me to reach out to her.
Are you going to?
Are you kidding? Of course. In fact, I'll do it right now. I answered while typing a reply to Maria's comment on the video. Later that day, Maria replied with an invite to her studio. I was on cloud 9.
Your hands are shaking,
Lucas said as we sat waiting for Maria. I'm so nervous. I can't believe I'm about to meet my idol.
Hey, Ashley, right?
Maria waved as she walked into the room. A guy with a camera followed right behind her. I was starstruck and I struggled to get any words out. I still can't believe this is happening. She smiled kindly and shook her hands.
You better believe it because we've got work to do. How do you feel about singing in a professional studio?
Right now?
Yes, right now. Unless you're not ready.
She's ready, right, Ashley?
Lucas held out his hand for me and I took it.
Oh, you guys are so cute together.
We walked inside the studio where a few people were busy setting up.
So, do you have a song in mind?
How about I sing one of yours? She looked unsure.
I don't know. My songs are pretty hard to sing for a beginner.
Ashley can sing anything.
I had no idea Lucas was such a fan of my singing. Thanks, Lucas.
Okay, if you're sure, just pick a song from my new album and let's hear it.
As I began singing, I could see the doubt on Maria's face, but about a minute into the song, her eyes widened. When I was done singing, the people inside the studio stood up and clapped.
That was incredible! I'm so glad you came today. I'm going to make you a star.
What do you mean?
I want you to join my record label. I have to talk to a few people, but I'm sure they'll love you just as much as I do. What do you say?
Yes. I mean, it's totally up to Ashley.
Lucas made everyone laugh. I couldn't believe that my dream was coming true, and much earlier than I expected. I should have been jumping up and down with joy, but the thought of breaking the news to my parents terrified me. Dad had made it clear that pursuing a music career was out of the question.
Ashley? I expected much more excitement.
Maria, this has been my dream ever since I was a little girl.
Then why don't you look happy?
My parents, Dad especially, they'll never agree to it.
I can try and talk to them for you.
I knew it was a long shot, but I didn't have much choice, so I agreed to bring my parents to meet Maria the next day. When Lucas and I got to my house, Mom was preparing dinner. Mom, is Dad home yet? I need to talk to both of you.
Is everything all right, dear?
Yeah, everything's great actually. I couldn't hide my huge smile. A few minutes later, Mom and Dad sat on our living room couch waiting for me to speak. I crossed my fingers and told them about my eventful afternoon meeting with Maria. I was so nervous, my palms were so sweaty. She offered me a record deal. She's gonna make me famous.
Absolutely not. I can't believe you went behind our backs and met with that evil woman.
Maria's not evil, Dad. I'm very lucky that she wants to help me. Please, just meet her and hear what she has to say about my future. As soon as I said that, I knew I made a huge mistake.
Your future? What does she know about your future? Is she your mother now? Are we not doing enough for you that you have to go and trust a stranger with your future? But she's really good, Mr. Stencil. Watch this video and see for yourself. I'm not watching any videos.
Dad snatched Lucas's phone and threw it across the room. Lucas, I'm so sorry. You can have my phone, I said in between sobs. I was so angry at Dad's outburst, but I was angrier at my mom's silence during the whole thing. How could she let Dad get out of control like that? I resented them both. You know I'm turning 18 in a week. You can't stop me from signing the deal, I said defiantly.
What did you just say?
Dad looked like an enraged bull. I said I'll be 18 soon. You can't control me anymore.
Get out, now! You think you're all grown up and you don't need us anymore? Leave now!
But where is she going to go?
Mom looked horrified.
I don't care. She clearly thinks she's better than us, so let her go live her fancy life.
And that, my friends, is how I found myself back at Maria's studio with nothing but a bag full of clothes and my notebook. Maria was shocked to see me there, but she promised to do everything she could to make me a star. She also welcomed me to live with her. On my 18th birthday and a day after graduation, I signed a multi-million record deal with Maria's Butterfly Records.
Ashley's first single will be out in a few weeks, so be on the lookout, guys.
She announced to her fans a few hours after we signed the deal. I had no idea how much work went into recording one single song. I was at the studio for hours every day, sometimes going late into the night. I was not allowed to reveal the name of the song until it was released. One morning, Maria and I were having breakfast when something on the radio caught my attention.
Coming up next is Ashley Stencil with her debut single, I Was Born with Golden Lips.
Hey, that's my song! I exclaimed. I couldn't explain the feeling of hearing myself on the radio. I was so happy, but at the same time, so nervous. What if they hated my voice? I'd seen celebrities quickly rise to fame only for them to come crashing down. Turns out I had nothing to worry about. I Was Born with Golden Lips received so much praise. It became an instant fan favorite. Radio stations played the song every day for weeks. It felt like a dream. I was invited to countless interviews and radio shows. They called me the girl with the golden lips. A few weeks after my song came out, I had more money than I knew what to do with. Maria introduced me to all the right people. She helped me hire a manager, a hair and makeup artist, a stylist, and a few other people who did almost everything for me. I also moved out of Maria's house into my own, thanks to my now very fat bank account. Life was great. I was still getting used to the fact that I had fans now. People recognized me when I walked outside. They asked to take selfies with me. They even asked me to sign some autographs. Can you believe that?
You're here!
Lucas shouted when I walked into my former high school's auditorium. In a few hours, it was going to be the venue of my very first live show. Being back there was emotional for me. Months had gone by and I still hadn't spoken to my parents. Hey, I have to go get ready for the show. You'll be here, right?
I wouldn't miss it. I can't wait to see you on stage.
He gave me a quick kiss and left. Oh, did I forget to tell you? Lucas was my boyfriend now, much to my fans' delight. They even nicknamed us Cashly.
Aw, you guys are so cute. Hashtag couple goals.
Maria teased me. She was on the stage doing a sound test. Don't start. So is everything set up for tonight?
Yes, you'll be first on stage, then I'll join you after you sing your first song. Are you nervous?
Yes, but I'm ready. I just wish my mom was here tonight. Maria looked like she wanted to say something but stopped herself at the last minute. Was Maria keeping a secret? Keep watching to find out. Hours later, the school auditorium was full of eager fans. I was backstage with Lucas, who was just as nervous as I was.
You'll do great. Now go.
I let go of his hands and walked on stage. The crowd went wild, and I had to wait a few minutes before I could start singing. When I started singing, all of my nerves fled. I was so caught up in the moment, I didn't notice that someone else had walked onto the stage and was singing with me. It's only when the song ended that I opened my eyes and I saw the person standing next to me. Mom? What are you doing here? The crowd went wild.
I thought you could use a backup singer.
Oh, Mom, it's so good to see you. Guys, this beautiful woman on stage with me is my mom. Wasn't she great? I embraced Mom and the roar of the crowd was deafening. It was Maria's time to come up on stage, so Mom and I went backstage. A very excited Lucas was waiting for us. Mom, how did you get on the stage?
When Lucas told me about your show, we came up with the idea of surprising you.
I spoke to Maria about it, and she made it happen.
So that's what she was hiding. We stayed for Maria's performance, then I invited my mom to my house after the show ended. When we arrived at my house, Mom couldn't hide her surprise.
Wow, this is where you live? It's so big.
I'm making a lot of money now, Mom. I smiled uncomfortably. After a few minutes of awkward silence as my mom looked around my home, we finally sat down to talk. So, how's Dad?
Your dad and I are getting a divorce.
Lucas excused himself and left the room. Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry.
Don't be. I should have left him a long time ago. I wanted to be a singer just like you know. I had so many songs written down.
I didn't know that.
When you were a little girl, you found my notebook stored in my closet. In the notebook were the words to I Was Born with Golden Lips. You copied that song to your notebook and started to memorize it. It was the first song I ever wrote.
What? Why didn't you ever record it?
Your dad didn't like it when I sang, so I stopped. After you were born, I told him I was thinking of starting a music career, and he got so angry. He threatened to leave us.
It's not too late, Mom. Do you still have your notes?
Yes, I do. Why?
Because I want us to do a song together. You saw how much the crowd loved your voice. Mom's face lit up.
Oh, Ashley, you have no idea how long I've been dreaming of this.
During the weeks that followed, Mom moved in with me and we started recording our song. I can't wait for you guys to hear what Mom and I came up with. Hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss it.
Sometimes I wonder if convincing my mom to leave my dad was a bad idea. I know it wasn't, but I just can't help but wonder sometimes, you know? When Dad was around, we were like one big happy family. Everything was stable. At that point, of course, we hadn't figured out that he had different families all over the world. Families that he was using Mom's wealth to take care of. But everything changed when we found out. Someone secretly left a package for Mom. She took it to her office, but didn't act like she discovered anything after coming out. All she said was,
Oh, that. Just some work documents.
We believed her and never asked again until I mischievously entered her home office one night, 6 months later, for no particular reason than to snoop, as I always did. I found the package filled with pictures of my father with his different families and documents proving that those were actually his families. I felt like someone had just stabbed me from behind. I heard the door opening, but I was too stunned to hide. My mom walked in.
Ethan, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be in here.
Her voice brought me out of my shocked state. What is this, Mom? What is this? My mom broke down and started weeping. She told me that someone had delivered the pictures to her, but she was too in love with my father to believe it, so she decided to hire a private investigator to follow him around. He brought her more pictures and documents proving that it was really true. You think my dad is the evil villain in this story? Watch this video till the end so you can see the definition of a real villain. I was so angry with my dad and mom at that point. If you know all this, why are you still living with that man? In less than a month, my parents had separated. The divorce process took a long time to get rounded up, and my dad managed to get settled with a huge chunk of my mother's wealth before leaving. That man was a terrible gold digger, and I stopped referring to him as my father. For all intents and purposes, I had no father. The problem now was that the kind of men my mother had been dating since she became a single woman once again were nothing to write home about. My dad might have even been better than every last one of them. These men were with my mom mostly because they needed a certain amount of money for something. Once they got it, they immediately disappeared into thin air, surfacing only if they needed money for something else again. My mother didn't care though. She accepted them for what they were, gold diggers. When I confronted her concerning her bad decisions, she argued that she only attracted these types of men because she was a loser, and secretly, I agreed with her sometimes. I was young, so I couldn't do much concerning her situation. I watched her get played, stolen from, and heartbroken over and over again, only for her to bounce back feeling better and get played, stolen from, and heartbroken again. It was an endless cycle. When I was about to graduate from high school, she started dating a new man who seemed more stable. He was different from the other men she had previously been with who were simply jumping from relationship to relationship. He made her feel better and took good care of her, so she loved him unconditionally. This was the total opposite of what I felt about this man though. His name was Mr. Frostkin, and he gave me serious creeps. I didn't like him one bit. I told my mother how I felt about him, and she just laughed, saying that I was simply paranoid because of our experience with my father. One day, my mother and her boyfriend called me into her home office and informed me that I'd be completing my high school education in a boarding school abroad. I couldn't understand it. Why would she want to be alone with this creepy man? I objected and fought against the decision, but that didn't change anything. And the next week after their revelation, I found myself on a plane heading to my new school. My final school year passed and I graduated successfully. Unfortunately, no one came to witness this, so once the celebrations were over, I got on a plane to get me back home. On arrival, I found out that my mom was severely sick. "Mom, oh my God, what's wrong?" I said as I sprinted to her bed.
Oh, Ethan, you have no idea how good it is to see you. I'm sorry I missed your graduation. The doctors told me I wouldn't recover from my sickness if I made the trip. I didn't listen to them, though. Trust me.
I laughed as she continued her story. "What did you do?"
I booked my private jet and I got my driver to pick me up in the middle of the night when everyone was sleeping. Unfortunately, Frostkin is a light sleeper, so he caught me before I could go too far. He stopped me and said he wasn't going to let me kill myself.
We both laughed. It was good to see her and hear her crack her jokes once again. I was spending time with her physically this time and not through a gadget. After hearing about her unsuccessful stunt, I didn't know if I should be grateful to Frostkin from saving her from herself or angry with him for stopping her from attending my graduation. I was conflicted. One day, he took me out so we could bond. I wasn't interested at first because I didn't like him one bit, but my mom successfully convinced me to go with him. We played golf at first, then went bowling after we got bored and realized golf wasn't our thing. While playing, we talked about my mom.
You know, Ethan, your mom is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
You mean my mom's money is the best thing that has ever happened to you? I thought.
She has shown me what true love is, and I will never hurt her. I will always be by her side no matter what. I will take care of her until she gets better.
But you don't have to deal with that alone. I'll be here with you guys.
Huh?
He looked shocked, making the bowling ball slip from his hand and move into the wrong direction.
Why would you want to do that to yourself? You're young. You should explore the world and have mad fun. It's either now or never.
What in the world are you talking about? My mother is critically ill, and you're talking about exploring the world and having fun? I don't even get you.
I'm sorry about that suggestion.
He apologized, and we played the rest of the game in silence. A few months passed, and I enjoyed every second that I spent with my mom. I also got admission to a nearby university, so I could be going from home while making sure my mom was all right. One day, my mother and her boyfriend called me to her home office once again, and I knew that something was going to go wrong. It felt like deja vu. My mom told me how she didn't want to mess up my future by making me go to a random university just because I wanted to take care of her.
Luckily, my darling Frostkin, who cares about you so much, has gotten you admitted into Cambridge University. This is where you'll be studying, and that's final,
she said while coughing. I tried reasoning with her, but it seemed like she listened to me only when it had nothing to do with that devil Frostbite. I started schooling in Cambridge and came across my mom's wedding photos some months later. I was surprised that she still went ahead to marry that weirdo despite my warnings, and I wasn't even told about or invited to it. Her face in the pictures made me shed tears. She looked so sick, like she'd been forced into it. I called her and asked her about it, but she defended herself, saying that she was an adult and had the power to make her own decisions without my permission. She didn't feel remorseful at all and was much worse because she kept coughing after every sentence and had to end the call quickly. I kept calling after that day, but I was informed that my mother was bedridden and couldn't talk on the phone anymore. I requested for video calls instead, and Frostkin agreed, but all my mother could ever do was wave and smile. I told her I was coming home, but she made me promise that I would finish my exams first. After my last paper, the bad news was broken to me. My mother had passed away. I immediately ran to the airport, but once I got there, I was informed that I had been banned from entering the States for suspicion of illegal activities. What illegal activities? I cried at the airport. My mother's burial went on without me, and I missed everything. Over the years, I kept trying to fix the problem, put my documents in order and travel, but I was never successful. I even ended up beating up an airport official out of frustration one day and subsequently got arrested, but I was immediately released once the cops found out who I was. After graduation, I tried applying to law school, but my banks told me that all my bank accounts had been cleared. I was broke. Luckily, I was able to land a job at a big tech firm thanks to my good grades, and I used my salary from my part-time work to fund my studies. I graduated from law school with flying colors, and my colleagues fought tooth and nail to get me clear and make it possible for me to travel anywhere in the world whenever I wanted. I finally arrived home, but I wasn't allowed to enter it by the new security guards. I got angry and confronted my mother's lawyer, and he explained to me that my mother had left everything she ever owned to her husband before she died. I burst into tears because I knew that my mom would never do that intentionally, and I was sad because I'd been unable to protect my mother from this foul play and that evil man. As I searched around for a hotel to lodge in for the night, I felt something heavy hit my head from behind, and I passed out. When I regained consciousness, I opened my eyes and saw my mother, but I quickly closed them because it meant I was still dreaming, since I dreamt of my mother every night. I opened them again, and there she still was, looking down at me and smiling. Mom?
Ethan, you're awake. I'm so glad. Agent Josh hit you so hard that I thought you were going to get a brain injury. I told him to just gas you and knock you out instead, but he didn't listen. Honestly, I think he just panicked, seeing how muscular and heavy built you've become. He didn't expect that. You look good, my boy. Different. Older, but good.
I didn't chicken out, woman. I just wanted to avoid a fight. A fight would draw attention and expose us.
They smiled at each other. How is this possible? You're alive. I tried sitting up, but my head still hurt.
I'm so sorry for hitting you.
I ignored the agent. My mom took a deep sigh and started explaining. Turns out that my mother found out that she was being drugged, so she'd die slowly but surely, and was also being made compliant to Frostkin's suggestions as a result of the drugs. This made her do whatever he said. Armed with this realization, she tried reporting to the police, but was immediately caught and shot by her husband. He hid her bleeding body in a basement where she heard the voices of her lawyer, doctor, and husband discussing outside. They were all wondering what they'd do next, since she'd found out early and their whole plan was ruined. Luckily, Agent Josh had been secretly investigating Mr. Frostkin for years. On that particular night, he had snuck into the house and was hiding in the basement when my mother was thrown in. He quickly called for backup, and they switched the body with a fake dead replica and poured blood all over, even shooting the clone in the exact spot before bringing her to the basement. They rescued my mother, treated her, and put her in witness protection. She'd been helping them build up a case against Frostkin that would keep him in prison for life since he'd killed so many people. Frostkin was a notorious criminal known for changing names and identities, then marrying and killing rich women and their families before taking all their wealth and eloping. I was happy and grateful that my mother was alive, so I decided to help. I started leaving personal items for my mother around their house, making Frostkin feel like he was being haunted. He started becoming sloppy and leaving clues carelessly, so we were finally able to build a huge case against him and keep him in prison for life. During the trial, we discovered that Frostkin was my real dad's friend. He sent the pictures to my mother because he wanted to destroy the marriage. Then, he started sending useless men to date my mother, making us feel like she was a loser so she'd love and appreciate him when he finally came. Everything was carefully planned out. My mother recovered her wealth, and we got the doctor, lawyer, and nurses, and everyone else who was involved in the attempted murder arrested. Agent Josh and my mother started seeing each other, and he was a sweet man and loved me just like he loved my mother. He treated me even better than my real dad had ever treated me. So imagine my joy when he asked my mother to marry him and she accepted. I was so happy to have a father who actually cared about both me and mother, and not the money. We later sold our new house and moved in with Agent Josh and his little daughter, who looked up to me because she also wanted to become a lawyer. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the story. It really helps our channel. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you, Ruby. You've outdone yourself this semester.
My dad said as he looked at my perfect grades. Thank you, Dad. Now will you buy me the new iPhone as promised?
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dad. I'll head to my room and catch a movie. See you later, I said, walking away with a smile on my face.
Ruby, wait. I have some news.
I didn't like the serious look on Dad's face. The first time I saw that look on his face, he told me that Mom was not coming home from the hospital. I was only 7 years old then.
Ruby, it's been 10 years of me raising you alone, and it's been such a joy watching you grow into the beautiful young lady you are now.
You're scaring me, Dad.
What I'm trying to say is, I've been seeing someone for a while now. Her name is Monica. She's a lovely woman, and I'd like to introduce you to her and her twin daughters.
Dread filled me. After Mom passed away, Dad had never introduced me to any woman. As you'd guess, I was Daddy's girl, and the thought of someone else having his attention made my blood boil. No one was going to take my daddy away from me. I faked a smile and hugged my dad. I'm so happy for you. I can't wait to meet them. I hated them already. I know what you're thinking, guys, but this is not a Cinderella story. This is the story of how I plotted to get rid of my new stepmom and her annoying daughters. Do you think I succeeded? Watch until the end to find out.
Ruby, I know you like your new iPhone, but please put it away.
Dad and I were sitting at a restaurant waiting for Monica and her daughters to join us. Sorry, Dad, I said, putting my phone back in my purse.
Here they come. Now, be nice.
Dad said, standing up.
Frankie!
Monica squealed and ran into my dad's arms. Frankie? I rolled my eyes.
Yeah, it's what Monica calls me. Isn't she sweet? Monica, meet my daughter Ruby. Ruby, this is Monica and her daughters, Joan and Joy.
Monica offered her hand to greet me with a smile on her face. I almost ignored it, but Dad was watching me closely. I was always on my best behavior when he was around. It's how I got everything I wanted, and it's how I was going to get rid of Monica. I shook Monica's hand and waved at the twins, who waved back excitedly. Ugh. Monica and her daughters became regular guests at our home, much to my displeasure. I knew it was a matter of time before they permanently moved in. Sure enough, a month later, Dad announced his engagement, and a few months after that, they got married, and Monica officially became my stepmom. It was my worst nightmare. Joan and Joy were around my age, but we had nothing in common. I was tall and slim with beautiful hair and a perfect face. Joan and Joy were identical, but they never came close to my beauty. Apart from their imperfect faces and figures, they wore boring and out-of-style outfits that looked like hand-me-downs. Yikes.
Ruby, today's the twins' first day at your school. Make sure you show them around and introduce them to your friends, okay?
Okay, Dad.
Thanks so much for driving us to school. Frank said our car will be arriving any day now.
Twin A said. I still couldn't tell them apart. I never paid them too much attention. Dad's buying you a car?
Yeah, we picked one exactly like yours. Isn't it great?
Twin B answered. I squeezed the steering wheel of my car so tightly I broke a nail. I felt tears burn my eyes, but I quickly wiped them. By the time we got to school, I was so mad my blood was boiling. I needed to do something. Where is it? I know it's in here, you thieves.
What is going on here?
Dad asked, rushing into the twins' bedroom. They stole my diamond necklace.
Liar!
I know it's hidden in your cheap things. That necklace belonged to my mother, I said, walking towards a dresser in the room. I opened a drawer, and after a few seconds, I pulled out a small box with the necklace inside it. Here it is. I can't believe you stole from me.
That necklace belonged to Ruby's mom. Why would you steal it?
Dad addressed them sternly.
I can't believe you're taking her side.
Twin A lunged at me and grabbed my hair. Ouch! Make her stop, Daddy. She's hurting me.
That's enough. Ruby, go back to your room now.
You need to punish them for stealing. Don't you see they want everything I have? Please don't let them take you away too. You're the only one I have, Dad. I burst into tears and ran to my room. Drama was my middle name.
Monica, you need to understand that Ruby is not used to having other people here, so it's tough for her. I'm sure she'll come around.
I heard Dad say a few minutes.
You're just making excuses for her. Your daughter is mean and evil.
That's enough. You'll not say such things about my baby girl. Ruby is a good girl.
The truth was, the twins did not steal the necklace. Earlier in the day, I planted it in their room. Enjoying my story? Stick around for my next plan. You'll like this one. Good morning, Finn. I greeted the school gardener. He looked up in surprise.
You know my name?
This was almost too easy. Of course I do. I always see you around school, but I've never had the courage to talk to you. You're so handsome, you know. Finn all but forgot the flowers he was watering.
Thanks, Ruby.
Of course he knew who I was. Everyone did. On a normal day, I wouldn't be caught dead talking to him, but desperate times called for desperate measures. And I was desperate. To get rid of the vermin in my house. Finn was going to be a part of my final plan. After a few days of talking to him on the phone and at school, Finn believed we were dating. One morning, I ran to him crying.
Ruby, what's wrong?
My stepmom, she's so mean to me. She wants Dad to transfer me to a boarding school. If I go, I'll never see you again.
What? Why would she do that?
She wants to have the house to herself and her daughters. She's jealous of me.
I'm so sorry, Ruby. I wish I could help you.
Bingo! Actually, I think there's a way you can help. I proceeded to tell Finn all about my plan, and although he was hesitant at first, I managed to convince him. All it took was one kiss. The next day, Finn came to our house. All you have to do is go to Dad and Monica's bedroom and lie on the bed. Dad will walk in and see you there. After I showed Finn into the bedroom, I went back to the living room and waited. Dad would be arriving any minute.
Ruby, I'm back. Where is everyone?
Dad said as he walked in. Welcome back, Dad. I don't know where they are, I just got home. Monica's probably upstairs.
Oh, okay, good.
Dad proceeded to walk upstairs and a few minutes later, I heard him shouting.
Who are you? What are you doing in my bedroom?
Just then, Monica walked in.
What's going on?
I have no idea, I answered innocently. We heard footsteps coming down the stairs.
I found this man on our bed. He says he's here to see you.
What? I've never seen that man before. This is one of Ruby's tricks.
Stop lying, Monica. You know me very well. Come on, tell the truth. Monica invited me over and told me you'd be at work.
I did no such thing.
Dad dragged Finn out and pushed him out the door. He then turned to Monica.
I want you out of my house.
Monica's eyes went wide. It was comical to watch.
But Frank...
You heard my dad. Get out of our house. Daddy, I'm so sorry she broke your heart. I rushed to the twins' room and started throwing their clothes out as Monica watched in horror. By the time the twins got home from the mall, all their belongings, plus their mother, were out on our lawn. I'm so sorry, Dad. I thought they were good people.
It's okay, Ruby. I don't know what I was thinking bringing them to live with us. Please forgive me.
Of course I forgive you. Can we go out for dinner?
Anything for you, sweetheart.
At school, Finn tried to talk to me, but I completely ignored him. I no longer needed him. However, the more I ignored him, the angrier he got, and finally he snapped.
You're such an evil girl. I can't believe I fell for your lies.
His outburst attracted some curious onlookers. Can't we talk about this after school? You're embarrassing me.
Embarrassing you? You were not embarrassed when you needed my help.
Please, keep your voice down.
Is everything all right here?
Mr. Pan, my math teacher, asked. I immediately started to cry. Please ask him to stop harassing me. He asked me to be his girlfriend and I already said no, but he won't listen.
What? That's not true. Enough, Finn. Please follow me. Everyone else go back to class.
Much to my delight, Finn was fired that day. Little did I know that was the beginning. Some days later, I came home and walked into a nightmare. Monica, the twins, and Dad were all seated in the living room. And guess who else was with them? Finn. What are you all doing here?
Finn told us everything.
Dad looked so angry. Whatever he told you, he's lying.
Save it. Finn already showed us your messages on his phone. I'm so disappointed in you. You let me believe Monica was cheating on me.
There was no need to pretend anymore. They were ruining everything. I had a perfect life before you brought them to live with us. I'm your daughter, not them. I mean, just look at them. They're not as beautiful as me. And look at Monica. She's so boring and has no taste in fashion. I have nothing in common with them. The room went completely silent. Dad was finally seeing my true colors.
College is starting soon. I need you to pack and get out of here. I'll pay for college and your upkeep, but I don't want you here. Monica and the girls will be moving back in. As for you, young man, leave and never come near my family again.
I thought Dad would change his mind after he cooled down, but he never did. I packed my stuff and went off to college. Dad never even bothered to see me off. 1 year later. Dear Miss Davis, we're pleased to inform you that you've been selected for an internship at our firm. I couldn't believe my eyes. I jumped up and down with joy.
What's the good news?
My roommate Hannah asked, "Remember the internship I applied for? I just got in."
Wow, congrats, Ruby. Aren't they the biggest publishing firm in the city?
Yes, they are. I'm supposed to report next Monday.
I'm really happy for you. Call your dad and tell him the good news.
At the mention of my dad, my mood plummeted. Ever since I left home, Dad only called to inform me that he'd paid my fees and sent money for my upkeep. I haven't seen him in over a year. I missed him terribly. My first day of the internship came and I was well prepared. When I arrived, the lady at reception told me to report to my supervisor's office. "Good morning, my name is..."
Hello, Ruby. I've been expecting you.
Standing behind a huge desk was Monica. Was this some kind of joke? You?
Yes, please have a seat.
Monica asked about college and about my interest in publishing. I just stared at her, unbelieving. But why are you being so polite? You should hate me. I was horrible to you.
Ruby, when I saw your application for internship, I must say I was tempted to decline it, even though you're our most qualified applicant. But that would make me as evil as you are. It would be selfish and unkind of me to deny you the opportunity based on our past interactions. So, congratulations on your new position, Ruby. I must warn you, though, I'll not tolerate your bad attitude here. If you cause problems for me or others, I'll terminate your internship immediately.
I was speechless. After everything I'd done to her, she had the perfect chance to get revenge, but she didn't. Thank you very much, Monica. I didn't expect such kindness from you after everything I did to you and your daughters. I apologize for everything. You won't regret giving me a second chance.
No problem. We can keep that in our past and start a new page if you're willing. Everyone makes mistakes, and we learn through them.
Monica, do you think Dad will ever forgive me? She smiled and said,
He forgave you a long time ago.
That weekend, at Monica's encouragement, I went home.
Hello, Ruby.
Dad greeted me at the door. I ran to him and hugged him tightly. "Oh, Dad, I missed you so much. I'm so sorry for everything." We hugged for a long time. Surprisingly, the twins were excited to see me. They both welcomed me warmly, and I apologized for having treated them harshly in the past. They told me they'd be starting college in a few weeks. At dinner, I addressed everyone. "I'd like to thank you all for being so nice to me, even after how I treated you in the past. Monica, I am so sorry for the terrible things that I did. The truth is, I felt like you were trying to replace my mom. And Joy and Joan, I was afraid that Dad would love you more than he loved me."
What? Your dad loves you, and he's been miserable ever since you left.
I'm sorry you felt that. All you had to do is tell me, and I'd have told you that no one will ever replace your mom. I love Monica, but that doesn't mean your mom is forgotten, okay? She will always be part of our lives. I also want you to know that anyone that is unkind and mean to other people is ugly, regardless of how beautiful they look on the outside. Welcome back home, Ruby.
We all smiled and nodded. Everyone pulled in for a hug, and we all had one big family hug. It felt so good to be among family. 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 Family.
you.